Okay. And, last week you played a lot of zone. You rushed 4. I know even in the first series, though, you did have some blitzes. I mean, we saw Jamel Dean get there, could have got home, and JPP dropped an interception. But in general, what was the thinking behind playing more zone against Drew Brees?
Well, it wasn't. We played a lot the first time, too. It's just a situation that presented itself. Obviously, nothing worked. The zone, the blitz, anything we did didn't work. So we just got to coach it better and play it better.
Thanks.
Next question will come from Greg Allman.
Looking back on that first Carolina game, I know Bridgewater was able to throw for a lot of yards. You guys were able to kind of keep things in check, in part because you'd kept the run game in check. I just want to ask you where your defense has changed the most since the first meeting with Carolina, and how, if anything, that changes knowing McCaffrey's not playing on Sunday.
I don't think it changes much. I mean, Davis is doing a heck of a job running the football. We got a lot of respect for him, obviously, in the run game, and they're doing a lot of different things. And for us, from our standpoint, from a mental standpoint, the game has changed. We just got to understand what we're doing and how to help each other out more than we got to help the opponent out. And I think we'll be fine then. I think we've come a long way from that standpoint.
One guy you guys have added in the secondary since that first game is Ross Cockrell. I don't know, you guys haven't had to go beyond your top 3 corners yet this year, but just want to ask you if he'd be the next guy in if you needed another corner on the field right now.
Depending on the game plan and the situation, obviously Ryan we know can play, and Ross is there too, who does a lot of things for us. It all depends on how the game plan goes, whether either one goes in the ball game, but they're both ready to play.
Okay, thanks, Todd.
Yeah.
Next question will come from Jenna Lane. Please raise your hand if you have a question.
Hey, Coach, I know you addressed it a little bit with Rick's question on the decision to play zone versus man, and hindsight's 2020. But when you look back at the tape against the Saints, do you wish that you would have maybe played a different coverage, or maybe had your guys pressing more to try to disrupt, the receivers' route timing a little bit? What kind of pops out to you when you think back on that game?
Nothing worked, and we did play man in that game as well. Man didn't work, zone didn't work. Again, we got to coach it better, and we got to play it better. It was a bad day at the office all the way around.
And I was looking at Breeze's completion percentage versus the blitz, and obviously you have so many different types of intricate blitzes, but it seemed like he was a lot more effective this go around versus week 1, 83.3% completion percentage versus 53.8 in week 1. What do you think was the difference there, and maybe why he was more effective this go around?
I mean, they played well and we didn't. It's really that simple. We got to coach better and we got to play better. They did a heck of a job this time around, and we got to do better.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Next question will come from Scott Reynolds.
Hey, Todd, just wanted to get your opinion on the Giants and the Saints have had some success running the ball at you guys, topping 100 yards in each of those games, with the Saints about 138 yards. They're using more 2 and 3 tight ends to kind of try to power you guys and keep you in base and add up some of your nickel defense where you can get a little bit more exotic and some of the blitzes. And how do you counteract that?
Well, it's not just the power game. I mean, obviously the Saints had Taysom Hill, who did some outside running, did some things like that, and we get jet sweeps and reverses, and all those things tally up to it. We got to be better all the way around. We misfit some runs the last 2 weeks that we got to hone in on and figure out, and we got to make sure we protect our edges. So it's going to take all 11 guys, and we've been working on that.
And then I wanted to ask you about Devin White's coverage ability. How has he progressed this year in coverage? What areas does he have to work to improve in? He doesn't seem to be getting his hands on a lot of balls. He had 1 interception and just a couple of pass breakups last year and a couple of pass breakups this year. What can he do to become more effective in coverage?
Well, he's where he's supposed to be. Obviously, the ball's got to come to him for him to make those type of plays right now. But Devin continually works on his pass coverage just like everybody else. He's not bad at it. He's very good at it, actually. He's in the right spot. So if you don't get a lot of balls thrown your way, that means you're in the right spot, and they're not really looking that way. So I'm happy with his coverage.
Thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
We have time for a few more. Next, we'll go to Greg Allman.
When you look in terms of the blitzing you've had and the success you've had with your inside linebackers, I just want to see what the key is to that. and doing it and not at the expense of their coverage, how that's been for you, both with Levante and with Devin.
Well, I mean, it depends on the game plan, but obviously those two guys can do a lot of things. They can cover as well as blitz. So we kind of pick and choose our spots when we send those guys. They're very athletic, so it's a credit to them. It's easy to say go get them because they're so athletic. They can make plays on their own, but they're so good in coverage and doing other things. You got to kind of spread it around some and mix it up a little bit. And we try to make sure they're fully rounded in everything they do.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah.
And last question will come from Tom Krasnicki.
Hi, Todd. I wanted to ask you about Jamel Dean and Sean Murphy bunting on the first touchdown to Traquan Smith. It looked like the pre-snap motion probably confused them a little bit, but in those two guys in particular, is it a communication issue or a technique issue, or maybe a little bit of both on why they're struggling?
Well, there were three guys involved in that play, and it was a communication issue, and there shouldn't have been any confusion, but there was, so we corrected it.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, that's all we have. Thank you for taking the time, Coach.
Thanks, guys.